What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Truck Talk, brought to you by me, inspired by my man Chili. I saw something quite intriguing yesterday, and I wanted to ask you guys about it. And it was a press release from President-elect Donald Trump talking about the new department that he is adding to the federal government. He calls it DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. And he is putting Elon Musk in charge of this new department. We all know Elon Musk. He is the owner and founder of SpaceX and Tesla. He understands how to run a business and make an organization profitable. I would say he's probably, he's proved that with his resume. What I want to ask you guys about DOGE, first of all, do you find it odd that we are adding a new department to the federal government in order to make the federal government smaller? Have you thought about that? We're creating an additional department within the federal government to make it smaller. Do you find that odd? And I ask you that because I did a little research, and there are actually 4 organizations right now within the federal government, and their sole job, all 4 of them, their job is to make the federal government more efficient. So I'm wondering why we didn't just tell those 4 organizations that already exist to start doing their job, or maybe put Elon Musk in charge of one of them that already exists in order for him to do his thing. Why, instead of doing that, why are we adding a new department? It doesn't quite make sense to me personally, but I just don't know. I don't know everything. So I wanted to ask you guys. And the second question I want to ask you is, do you think that this organization or this new department, DOGE, is actually going to do what it says it's going to do? I know that we all have high hopes that it will go through and severely diminish the ranks of the bureaucracies that are the strong arm of the federal government, that control you and I. We all know what they're called. The FBI, the CIA, the IRS, the ATF. We all have high hopes that they're going to freaking dwindle these organizations down to a skeleton crew. They should, in my opinion, actually be completely disbanded and dissolved. But do you think that DOGE is actually going to dwindle the ranks of these strong arm agencies? And the reason I ask you that is because I've said before here on Truck Talk that all things are held together by violence. Violence is the element when you get down to the root of how does the government get you to pay your hard-earned money to them via their oppressive tax code. How do they get you to pay taxes? It's because you know if you don't pay taxes, they can send people, a bunch of people, to come and get you and lock you up. How are they going to enforce their laws that they create for us that they don't abide by? How are they going to enforce their regulations, their rules, their freaking permits, all of their crap, if they cut down the strength of their strong arm? Are they actually going to do that? Our government's job, in at least in the beginning, the idea of the government here in America, the federal government, was their primary role was to protect us, the citizens, this country, right? But it has morphed more into their primary role now is to control us and to use us as tax slaves so that their agenda can be done globally. So do you have high hopes for DOGE? Do you think that they're going to relinquish and clean the ranks of their strong arm agencies? Because you understand that if they do that, it's taking power away from themselves. They are relinquishing power to be able to enforce their unconstitutional laws, rules, regulations, their oppressive taxation. They're relinquishing their power to be able to actually enforce those things. What do you think is going to happen? Year after year, the scope of the federal government gets larger. Every election cycle, every term, the scope of the federal government gets larger. It does not get smaller. And therein lies the core of our issues. Do you think for once the government is actually going to get smaller? It's hard for me to believe that. But at least they say they're going to try. I hope this made you think. Drop me a comment. Answer my questions, man. I like to read what you guys are thinking and see your opinions too. If you got anything out of this, share it with somebody. Go get you a hat, get you a t-shirt, keep my man Chili in the dungeon, and I'll keep these truck talks coming. Now I'm going back deer hunting. Love you guys. Enough said.